Last week I broke down how I approach attacking Cairo Bazaar on Breakthrough, particularly while sniping and trying to support the frontline push. The last time I made a follow-up video like this, I tried showing full gameplay clips, but the video ended up being much longer than it needed to be. So this time I'm going to switch things up a bit, and instead I'll be using stills to demonstrate the angles and lanes I discussed in the breakdown video. Of course, there's a lot of variance when it comes to each map, both in terms of what the defending team is doing, where they're trying to hold up, and where the attacking team is trying to go. In the breakdown video, I discussed B being one of the areas I go for, especially this alley here. There's several ways for us to attack this. Sometimes you'll find defenders trying to peek this wall, but oftentimes you'll see them trying to peek this angle here behind this wall. A few ways to attack this and to support the team that I often take is going this direction and going behind this car here. It can give me a line of sight straight down this alley, both in terms of the opening that's to the left of this wall and also to anybody that's on top of the building that is on B. Another tip is if you're running C4, you can blow up this wall here, and that allows you to take the angle that I'm at now to see anybody that's on B in this area. From this angle, you can see what I'm talking about. Oftentimes, defenders will go to this left side of the wall, and when they peek, they have to peek in the area that I can have a line of sight on. Again, here's the building, and you have to remember the stairs come up this way, so oftentimes you'll see somebody's head peeking up around here, or they'll come up onto the building entirely this direction. This is another section I discussed. The downside of this spot is we don't have a lot of cover from the enemy. However, it gives us a good line of sight on a few areas. This building top here is one that oftentimes is frequented. This building back here, people will go up into the second story windows here. This building here is oftentimes a hot spot. People will be inside of it, on top of it, to the left, here, and then even behind it off on this side. If you push up and help your team take B, you can take the roof of that building, and it gives you a pretty wide line of sight on the enemy. If there's any enemies utilizing this building or behind it, it gives you a direct line of sight on them, direct line of sight on anybody at the building at A, or that small ledge behind it. It also can give you a line of sight on any enemies that are coming through this tunnel here. Keep in mind, the enemies also spawn off to the right, but again, we can turn and we can have a line of sight on some people coming this direction, but especially if they try to take this long path here. Going into the second sector, like I said, I oftentimes like to go to B, as most of the team tends to go to A. Again, to keep in mind, people oftentimes will get onto the roof to the right of B, but they also like to get up on their side of this building here. So what I like to do is take the right side of the road, and that gives me a line of sight to anybody that's on that building and allows me to push up to this rubble here and get a line of sight on people here and some in this area. Now, if they have a whole squad that's on this roof, I may stay off to the left side so I can put as much pressure onto them as possible. Moving up here, as you can see, once we're on this rubble here, it gives us a pretty good line of sight on this area. This is good for multiple reasons. One, enemies like to use this side as cover. They'll try to peek this area here or try to peek this. It's also good because the enemy spawns way back in this area also, allowing us to put pressure on the enemy before they can even get out of their spawn. Going over to A, this is the wall I was talking about in the first video. Now I wide peeked here, but we can hug this wall, staying back a little bit, and what that allows us to do is get a line of sight on this area here. This room to the left is the one I was discussing in the first video a lot of enemies like to hold up in. So using this angle on the right allows me to see people here. Once these people are gone, then I can move a little bit more and start seeing this area here. Moving on to the third sector. I said oftentimes I like to push to the right and stay on the road at B. This was one of those occasions where I was just following up the team. But in doing so, again, I can keep some pressure on this area, which allows my team to move more towards B and not have to worry as much about the people coming from the left. Again, moving up and taking this spot allows me to see everybody in this area. This spot here is one of the ones that have a lot of enemies. This is another angle I discussed because we can see people in this doorway, and this section here. Again, remembering that their spawn is back off to the right, so a lot of them will be funneling this direction. If there are snipers in this area, I will try to put pressure on them, but I'm not as worried about them as I am the other infantry around. Chances are the enemy snipers that are way back here probably don't have as much of a line of sight onto our team as we do onto theirs. We still have to worry about them to some extent because they can kill us more easily than the rest of their team. However, they're usually not as big of a threat as you may think. There are times where I may actively move left and take another angle to where their snipers can't get any pressure on me, but I can still put a lot of pressure on their team. The other thing to remember here is oftentimes the attacking team will have a tank, and that tank will put a ton of pressure into this area as well. Hopefully this gave you a better look at how some of the ideas from the original video actually play out during a match. The exact angles will change depending on how the enemy team reacts, but their overall goal stays the same. We want to identify pressure points, clear lanes that our team needs, and overall keeping a lot of pressure on the enemies to support our team's push. Anyway, is there anything that you feel like I missed or something that you would like me to cover further? If so, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I'll catch you on the next one. RAMTEID out.